Let's be real. In today's world, your information isn't just a bunch of files. It's one of the most valuable things your company owns. So protecting it isn't optional. It's absolutely critical. But how do you actually do it the right way? Well, that's where ISO 27001 comes in, and we're going to break down everything you need to know about it. First, let's start with a number that should definitely get your attention: $4.35 million. According to a big report from IBM, that's the average cost of a single data breach. Wow, that's a staggering figure, and it just goes to show how incredibly high the stakes are when we're talking about information security. And that multi-million-dollar question is exactly why we're here. See, protecting your organization isn't just about installing some antivirus software or putting up a firewall. It's about having a real, systematic, and internationally recognized strategy for managing and protecting all of your sensitive information. To really get a handle on that strategy, we've got to start with the basics. So, first things first, what exactly is this ISO 27001 standard that you keep hearing about? The easiest way to think about ISO 27001 is as the official international rulebook for information security. Now, it's not going to tell you exactly what brand of lock to put on a specific door. Instead, it gives you the complete framework, the blueprint really, for building a powerful security system that's perfectly tailored to your organization's needs. So if ISO 27001 is the rulebook, then your ISMS is the actual security engine you build using those rules. It's the living, breathing system of policies, procedures, and all the controls you put in place to actively manage and protect your company's information day in and day out. Okay, so now we know what it is. But the big question is, why should your business actually go through the effort to get certified? Let me tell you, this is about so much more than just getting a fancy certificate to hang on the wall. And what's really cool is how all these benefits just feed into each other. You know, when you build that customer trust, you instantly get a competitive edge. When you make sure you're compliant, you're not just avoiding fines, you're dramatically lowering the risk of one of those multi-million-dollar breaches. The whole process kind of forces you to get your house in order, which improves everything internally. It's a win-win-win. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. In today's market, showing your customers that you take security seriously is a massive deal. It's a powerful statement that tells them, hey, you can trust us with your data. And that trust, that's a huge differentiator. Now, I get it. The idea of getting certified can sound like this huge, complicated mountain to climb. But honestly, it's a lot more manageable when you think of it less like a mountain and more like a journey with a really clear step-by-step roadmap. The whole path is actually pretty logical. You start by figuring out where you are right now and where you need to be. That's your gap analysis. Then you identify your most important information and what threatens it. After that, you write your policies, you train your team, and then you run an internal audit. Think of that as like a full dress rehearsal before the big show, which is the final external audit. See? Each step just builds right on top of the last one. Okay, this is a super important point. ISO 27001 isn't some dusty old document that never changes. The world of cyber threats is evolving like crazy, and the standard has to evolve right along with it. The most recent major update happened in 2022, and it was a big one. So, the biggest change they made was a huge restructuring. The old 2013 version had 114 different security controls that were spread out across 14 different categories. The new 2022 version streamlined that down to 93 controls. But here's the key part. It regrouped them into just 4 clear logical themes. This makes the whole thing so much easier to understand and implement. And here are those 4 new themes. It's so much more intuitive now, right? You've got organizational controls for all the high-level stuff, like policies. You've got people controls, which are all about the human side of things, like security awareness. Then there's physical controls for protecting your buildings and servers. And finally, technological controls for all the IT systems themselves. It just makes way more sense. The update also brought in 11 brand new controls that are aimed squarely at modern threats. And this is huge because it shows a real shift in thinking. For example, threat intelligence moves you from being reactive to proactive. You have to actively look for threats outside your company. The cloud services control is a recognition that, hey, your data doesn't just live in your own server room anymore. And secure coding is all about building security in from the start, not just patching holes later. This proves the standard is really keeping up with the times. All right, let's talk about what might be the single most important takeaway from all of this. Getting that certification? That's not the end of the road. In fact, it's really just the beginning. This idea of a continuous cycle is really the heart and soul of a strong security program. Think about it. Threats never stop changing, so your defenses can't ever afford to stand still. The system you build isn't a set it and forget it kind of thing. It's a living framework that's designed for constant monitoring, reviewing, and improving. And this is actually built right into the process. Your ISO 27001 certificate is good for 3 years, but to keep it, you have to pass an audit every single year. These surveillance audits are there to make sure you're not just maintaining the status quo, but that you're actively improving your system to keep up with all the new risks and challenges out there. And that really brings us to our final thought. The whole point of the ISO 27001 framework is to help you answer this one simple question with confidence. It's about building a security system that is strong, adaptable, and ready not just for the threats we all know about today, but for whatever's coming around the corner tomorrow.